Hello and good morning. It is Friday. What is it? The 27th of August 2021. My name is Steve Pugh, and every Friday I do a bit of a live stream for something that I do call a Roadmap MBA, which is a real world business course to help you make that next step in your business or career. If I can just show you what it looks like. So in terms of the kind of course textbook, looks a little bit something like this. At the moment it's 216 pages and what we do is we run through all of the skills to help you grow basically your business or career, and we cover everything from your visions, your values, what you want to do, your personal brand, what is it, how do we articulate it, how to create it, and why is that important, all the way through to a business strategy. What is it that you want to create? Why? How do we make it better than everyone else? And we do 3 modules on strategy. Then what do we go into? Then we go into a lot of other stuff to do with marketing and sales, and a lot of stuff that basically helps you walk through the entire process on how to grow your business or career. Because to be honest, a lot of the skills are the same, that no matter if you work in a big corporation or a small business. And good morning, Simon, as always. It's always good to kind of learn these skills. But one of the kind of USPs of the course is that we do specifically aim at small and mid-sized businesses, and obviously freelancers and that kind of thing as well. Because often in smaller businesses, people have to wear multiple hats. So you often get asked to do a little bit of management, some sales, some strategy. And the point is, not everyone is often trained how to do these things. So if you could be a qualified accountant, for instance, and you're exceptionally good at what you do, but actually at a certain point in your career, you're probably asked to go out and start to win new customers, or what's the plan to help grow the business and how do you kind of differentiate in the market? And it's that which is very difficult to learn. So one of the things we do with the course is it's a 12-month program that you can dip in and out of, but the point is you get support for 12 months. You get the textbook to use as a reference, and really do we walk you through everything that you need to know to help you grow the business or your career. So hopefully that's of interest. One thing we do every Friday is do a live Q&A. So you have a lot of people that have questions about stuff, but they don't always have the ability to attend a live classroom session, which we do 4 times a week. Or to be honest, they're looking to do it, but their employer doesn't know yet. So they've almost, at the, in the back of their mind, they're starting to form the ideas about launching a business. So what they do is they send in private messages to questions@roadmapmba.com, and then I will answer them kind of on a Friday. And then what I also do is pick topics and stuff from the week which might, I think, be interesting. It's stuff that comes up from so I'm a management consultant. I get paid to do this by the hour in some cases to really help make a difference in businesses. And because I get paid to do this and I get paid to actually sell to people, hopefully on the course you're learning with someone, I don't say from someone, but with someone that gets paid to do this for a living. That actually, hopefully it's a different angle, it's a more real world take, and I give real world kind of examples based on what I do every day. And then, but based on that and my kind of past experience with someone learns on the course, we also craft these skills directly for their own needs, wants, aims and goals. So for instance, on Tuesday evening, our 8 p.m. session, there was a lady that joined that and we made massive progress for her. She's looking to start her own business at some point, and at least looking at the options and how can she stand out in the marketplace. So my name's Steve Pugh. What are we on? We're on 9:02. One of the things that I'm very conscious to do, because actually we're in 23 different countries now. I shipped a pack to United Arab Emirates yesterday, but you could add into that a lot in Nigeria actually, which is cool. You got USA, you got China, Ukraine. Well, there's lots, which is quite cool. But again, so what are we on? So in Sydney, it's 6 p.m, 6:02, Mumbai, 1:30, Shanghai, 4 o'clock, Rio, 5 a.m, Berlin, 10 a.m, New York, 4 a.m, and LA, it's 1 a.m. as well. But it's, again, what we're trying to do is build a genuinely global business that helps people, no matter where you are in the world, access decent quality kind of business education. And again, one of the big things that we really push is that over 50% of our courses get given away for free. So even if you don't necessarily have the financial backing or support mechanism to fund yourself through business education, apply to guest list at roadmapmba.com and we'll happily send you a course for free. And that is part of the kind of the ethos that I wanted to hopefully create, but I genuinely believe it's useful as well. Good morning, Jonathan, as well. Sorry, I was just mid spiel as I was talking through different stuff. I'd love to know what you've done this week. I also like to know what progress you've made. So I'm going to tell you what I've kind of been up to this week. But Jonathan, I'm going to ask as well. And again, Simon, I could see that he'd updated his website and stuff this week too. And for me, I applied for the registered trademark for Roadmap MBA. Under classifications 35 and 41 that's business education and consulting stuff. I've also got a new logo which is going to launch with version 2, which I've applied for as well. But it's a big step up because it's not the TM, which some people joke as totally meaningless. It's the proper registered R kind of thing as well. And for me, for where I want to take the business, that was quite important. So it was a really good step for me. Jonathan, I'd love to know if you've made that little jump that we said you would. And that the whole point of what we're trying to do over the course, I guess the course of the year, but likewise just the course of the roadmap, it's just to help you make all these little steps that, nobody's ever successful overnight. So actually it really helps if you can just kind of take your time and work through different stuff. And that's the only thing that really kind of matters. In terms of today's session, the 3 main topics that I normally pick today are, if you're going to start a business, why you need a clear vision, and I'll explain why that's kind of important. Networking, now that things are starting to open up again and events are starting to happen and stuff, I think there's some really important lessons to learn just in terms of who to target when you do that. And it's basically the more connected people are really worth kind of getting to know. And then likewise, I'm going to finish on if you have an important project, why it's important to do something called a pre-mortem as well. So guys, hi Jennifer, good morning. I'd love to know where in the world you're from. I love it when you get involved. And likewise, as I say to anyone as well, I have absolutely no problem if you choose to plug your business or tell people kind of what you do, because we are all kind of in this game together. And actually, you should take every opportunity you get, which is quite cool as well. But delighted for you to be involved. And likewise, if you've got any questions or anything, please feel free to get in touch. Or Jennifer, I don't believe, or no, you might be, if you're not on the course, send me a message and I'll drop you a free course as well. So I'm going to start on number 1, and this is why you need a clear vision. So I think when a lot of people start a business, I think a lot of people actually start with that they like the idea of running a business, and often I think the practicalities can be quite different to the realities of doing it. But just to kind of give you an example, so you're a person and you want to start a business, and I don't know why I always seem to pick on copywriters just because it's an easy thing for me to do, but you could want to make cakes or whatever. You can start your business and then you start off on a path, and then what you find, obviously, hopefully the whole point of the course is to help guide people's path and help them on, decide what to do next and stuff. But unless you have the clear vision and direction for where you want to head to, often people will proactively do stuff, but it might actually take them away from where they're trying to go to. And I think it's one of those things that early on in the course, we ask about what is your vision to create a new business, why do you want to do it, etc. And you really need to have that North Star that really you always kind of go back to. So one of the things for me is that over the past, so the roadmap's been live since February, and this is obviously my main kind of baby, my project. And even now, and hopefully touch some wood, it's going quite well, but I know where I want it to get to. And one of the important things is that when you actually kind of go to make decisions over the course of a year, so you can make one decision. I'm going to decision 1 to, I don't know, launch a new website, which is something that I'm going to joke with Jonathan about. That's great. And you might want to take the business and you want to drive more customers. But it's really important to know where your end goal is to actually decide what type of customer do you actually want. Because it's very easy if you say create and launch a new website and you almost pitch it for everyone, as a very generous kind of service. But actually, once you've really done your strategy, you might find that 80-90% of your income comes from, it might be high value net worth individuals within your local region. So actually, you don't want to write the copy and launch your website based on everyone. You want to launch and write your website based on high value net worth individuals. And the point is, it's very easily and innocently enough to do a range of actions which, are in some ways the correct thing to do, but they're actually taking you away from the end goal. And the other thing as well, once you kind of have the strategy in place and you kind of know where you sit. So for instance, with the roadmap, one of the big things that I'm learning more and more about, the end goal, what we're trying to do, I am trying to create a global business, hence why I do the international time checks and I've got all the different classroom sessions at different times. I've thought about doing language translation and that kind of thing, but that's because that's where I'm kind of trying to get to. But even in terms of this setup, some people might think this is quite posh, but again, I watch Bloomberg just when I'm working away, and that's the level I'm aiming for. So even with this, I've kind of got the end vision so that every time I do an upgrade, and soon enough, I'll be launching some new stuff to do with this with version 2 and almost the new look and feel. But it's all actually trying to get me towards the end goal and the vision that often, especially as a freelancer or an entrepreneur, it is very easy to get sidetracked or you lose heart or actually you end up just going around in circles. And I think unless you've actually got the clear vision to aim for, and obviously it's going to vary for every different business or whatever you do, you'll kind of never get there. Prime example, if I'm going to take, I don't know, Simon Rudd's business, he's got a brilliant t-shirt business that I mention every week called Shy Burns, and it's all about mental health charities and support and merchandise and stuff. But for instance, if Simon wanted that to be a genuinely global business in 50 different countries, the decisions and things that he should take are different to if it wants to just be a sideline with his normal job in the UK, because actually then he needs to start looking at international distribution, international marketing. How does he put in the little baby steps, the little bricks to build the bigger castle to get him to the end goal? And often once you know what the goal is, you should be able to start backwards. I must admit, there was a post on LinkedIn, I think it was this week, and it was a lot of people saying that they've done business plans and they don't really seem to work, and they seem to find some of them and achieve certain things just by chance and whatever. But I think the end goal is actually the one thing which cements the flag, that's your direction that you go in. Then the whole point in everything you should do is to help take you closer towards that. And actually, even if an opportunity comes up which seems quite attractive, but actually it's going to take you over here somewhere, unless it gets you closer to the goal, kind of don't do it. And just as a practical example, say for instance, me with the roadmap stuff, this is my baby that I want to run for the next kind of 10, 20 years, that I could, for instance, get offered a new consultancy gig to really help grow and turn around a company. But if it would take an extra 2 days a week that I don't have because I'm kind of sold out, and it meant that I'd have to stop doing the roadmap stuff, that's taken me away from my goal, which is not what I want. So I should turn it down. And that's the kind of thing that almost for everyone, no matter what you do, or even in your career, have a vision, an idea for what you really want to achieve. It's the location pin that we work towards. And then likewise, when we're starting to build your personal brand and what we say to the world and what we want the world to think and stuff, we can build it towards this as opposed to just doing random stuff that kind of, I'll be honest, probably won't get you anywhere. And it's this kind of thing that I think it's just important that I would love to know in the comments if anyone ever sees this. What is your vision? What's your dream? What is it that you actually kind of want to create? And then have a think actually about how you can work backwards from that point to put in place the steps and the things that you need. And it could be, in Simon's example, he wants to create an international business, but then he needs to think about his marketing, his promotion, and how can he do that. And it's, it might be that he starts a mental health podcast and starts interviewing people, and then one day in a few years' time, if it's as big as Joe Rogan's, that might help him achieve his goal. But the point is, he had to do the tough stuff at the start to start the podcast or start the live stream or start whatever, which isn't easy, but it will help him get towards where he needs to go. Cool, so hopefully that's about it. I'm just going to check the comments. Jonathan, well written, some wording, set up payment for the file. Fantastic. No, that's brilliant. For anyone that else doesn't know, on a previous live stream, I asked people what they have going on and what they're trying to do each week. And Jonathan, it's just brilliant to have made progress. And then, over time, don't feel that you have to do it, straight away. And I tweak my website most days. It's all these little steps will just help you get to where you need to get to. And the next one for you, well, actually to think about, okay, so the website's live. What's next? I'd almost spend a little bit of time to make sure you're happy with it. And then it almost has a good call to action for them to get in touch with you. And then almost, look what's important. So I guess, a defined geographic area for where you kind of look to support. And again, have a think about where your main income streams will come from, and actually making sure that the photography and the images and stuff is aimed towards that market rather than everyone. And actually that could waste a lot of time. I know how busy you are as well. Hi Jennifer, based in Leeds, local enterprise partnership. Ah, brilliant. I used to work at the LEP on Teesside, which is called Tees Valley Unlimited, or it's now the Tees Valley Combined Authority. But I do appreciate anyone that works in economic development and for the LEPs and that kind of thing as well. Doing a lot of work with companies, author of Export Thrive, Change the World. Oh, nice. I also appreciate how hard it is to write a book and do that kind of thing. The amount of time and commitment it does to make and take. It's probably a real labour of passion. Please drop a link in the chat and I'll, obviously everyone else will see it, so I don't have to promote it, but that's cool. One of my first steps is one of my first steps in the 7 steps is, okay, got you. Hi Jennifer. No, spot on. It's always funny, hopefully, as you appreciate that when you're actually doing the live stream stops, it's quite difficult to both read at the same time and do other stuff as well. But no, brilliant for getting in touch, and no, fantastic. And again, that proves the value of your network and things like streaming, because when we talk about this on the course, but unless for whatever your initiative is, you need the ability to create content which hopefully people like to engage with and stuff, but almost doesn't feel salesy. It's not inoffensive. But for instance, if I wasn't doing this, we probably wouldn't have interacted just now. That actually it proves the value of just, doing this and putting your neck on the line and actually, being confident to do stuff every week. Because actually that's the only way we achieve kind of change, which is cool. Wow, I'd love to watch your second book about. I'd love to. Well, you will see it pop up, but I'd love to kind of know. And then next, I'm going to jump on to the next question, which is how, when you're networking, why it's really important to find certain people. So now that the world is starting to open up, obviously with COVID, we've all been kind of locked in our houses or offices for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and it feels like a long time. But networking events are starting to happen again. I'm starting to get invited to more. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% confident going to them as I would have been pre-pandemic. There's a little bit of caution there. Actually, someone I know was pinged with COVID and they tested positive just recently. I am double jabbed, but actually the point is that things are starting to open up again. And one of the things that I think is really important is just how can you get the best value and the most impact out of your networking? Because if you go to an event, one of the things that we're actually trying to do, if you look at the goal, what we're actually trying to do with networking is build relationships. It's actually to get to know people, get them to know you, find out more about them, and build personal relationships with people that, like Jennifer or Simon or Jonathan or whoever, build over time. That actually, you never know when either they could be a viable customer to you, or you could help solve their pain point, or whichever. But the point is, what you're trying to do is build relationships with people. One of the things that often comes up with networking is that you go to a big room of people or a small room of people, and actually people see or they visualize a network almost like a big circle, and then you have lots of different people, and what they think is that actually, okay, so I'm going to go and shake some hands, give some business cards out and meet some people. This actually isn't how networking works. There's a famous book, actually a number of famous books by Malcolm Gladwell, so if you've never seen them, really interesting. But what he's talking about is actually how a lot of professional networks, but networks of any kind, including kind of just social circles, aren't an equal flat plane where people actually all have the same number of friends and contacts. The way it actually works, it's almost like a pyramid. And there will be a few people at the top that actually connect everyone else. So these are the kind of people that different people have different phrases, but you can also argue are like the super connected people, where actually, yes, if you go to a networking event and you speak to 5 people, because realistically, if you're there for an hour, it's probably realistic, maybe 10. But the point is, if you speak to 10 unconnected people that don't know anyone else, it's very hard to hit a big audience. if you can actually find the people, and in many ways it could be the network organizer, whoever does that, because they in theory will know everyone in the room, always seek out the super connected people. And one good way to test that is actually LinkedIn followers. That likewise, if someone has a following of 10,000 people or 50,000 people, chances are they've got a good network there that, you know, might help you in your aims and goals and stuff. And it's much better to build links with those kind of people and how that will then benefit your business or career or aims for your network, versus sitting in a corner and not actually saying hello to anyone, which is really important. And it's that kind of thing that when you go to a networking event, there's a really great guest who I had on the podcast a while back called Jenny Smith, and she's got a business called Network Know Who. If you search Jenny Smith, that's Jeni Smith, and then networking on LinkedIn, she might pop up. But she has a whole business just teaching people how to network and network well and almost build your networking strategy. But as a great tip, find the people who are really well connected in the room, make friends with them, and actually ask, you know, who should you meet? How can you add value to them? How can you help them out? Is there anything you can do? And again, what we're trying to do is just build relationships with people that on the course we call it adding value outside of your interest, but actually over time, the better your network, this is hugely valuable, and it could actually make or break the launch of your business or even your career prospects, because actually the more people that know who you are, especially if you have a good personal brand, if you ever find yourself being made redundant or you're going for a new job, if people already know who you are, they like you, they trust you, they like your tone of voice, they like your work ethic, and you're well respected for a certain thing, you're already kind of 80-90% the way there. So again, it could even be massive for your career, you know, and it's that kind of thing that I think people often shy away from personal branding type stuff. They think it's just for other people or Instagram influencers or whatever. But actually, even if you're a mechanical engineer or an accountant or a solicitor, everyone has a brand, which is called reputation. But now people do check out your feed and the content that you create, and is it good quality and stuff that actually, as a business does, it kind of is something that you should at least consider investing time and effort in, just to really help, you know, you can control what the world thinks about you. So it was just something I wanted to kind of touch on today. And if you've got any questions, please kind of drop them in the chat. Hi, Jennifer. My second book is about taking business good to learn. Oh, nice. I love it. Basically, it's funny that my gut feel, just in terms of, I wrote down here, just in terms of people that do stuff, I think you've got, say, 90% of your are professional networks and people that just do work, and they go to work and whatever. I do actually think it's only 5% of people actually do extracurricular projects and stuff, because it's so difficult to do. So I genuinely, you know, respect the kind of hustle and stuff, because, you know, the easy option, and again, it depends what people have got going on in their lives, is to go home, put the TV on, have a beer, relax on weekends and do whatever. And actually, I know how difficult it is to, you know, commit to doing other projects. I've kind of done it all my life, and it's brilliant to see. And you should definitely kind of celebrate everything that you're looking to do, which is cool. 2. Okay, last but not least. The last one is all to do with projects. This could be a project of any kind. The project could be launching a new business. It could be a new initiative. It could be a new product. It could even be an event. It could be whatever you wish. One of the big things, especially from an offshore energy background, that we always look at is risk. In particular, what can go wrong? Often in bigger projects, you often in advance will do something called a risk matrix, where basically you map out all of the probability of something happening, and also the impact if it happens. So for instance, in England, an earthquake could be massively devastating, but it's very, very unlikely to happen. And actually in England, I don't think we've ever had a decent earthquake that actually could cause damage. That's low risk. But the point is, when you're looking at everything that you do, often when you look at the risk and you think of everything that could go wrong, I'll be honest, for a lot of small businesses and kind of freelancers, it's always in hindsight. So for instance, your car gets broken into and someone steals your laptop. You lose the project you've been working on or some client work. And you're like, why didn't I just insure it or do backup? Data backups are one of those classic things that everyone knows they should do, but actually not everyone does. I have two sets, and it was almost so I have this 2 terabyte solid state drive, which I use everywhere between my laptop and my iMac when I'm out on site and stuff. And I thought, actually, you know what, if I was to lose that or it was nicked, I'd kind of be in trouble. So I now have double backups. I have one at home and one in the office. So even if this office burnt down, I still don't lose anything. And it's that kind of thing that's always really worth, kind of looking at. But especially if you've got something coming up which is really important. When people die, historically in a hospital, after the event, it's called a post-mortem. So basically, after they're dead, what happened? But the whole issue with that instance is that, yeah, it's great if you're a doctor and you're trying to figure out cause of death. But actually in business or your career, we kind of want to prevent it from happening, because that isn't good. What we don't want is the business to fail and then think, what could we have done? One of the really good things is it's called a pre-mortem. And this is quite a common concept now, but just something I just wanted to talk about. And especially as a freelancer or solopreneur or small business owner, if you are launching a new project, especially if it's important or it could be critical for what you're trying to do, or to be honest, even if you're going to recruit someone, it's important to sit down in advance and actually think, okay, what could go wrong with this project? If I was to do what could go wrong with live streaming, camera could fail, the internet could go down, I could have a heart attack live on air, and there's hundreds of things that could kind of happen. The important thing is that when you do this in advance, you can actually then mitigate a lot of these risks. And a prime example, it could be that if you want to go into a new business with a partner and you want to launch a new coffee shop on a high street, there are lots of things that you could do, and it's really worth looking at to actually in advance say, well, actually, what happens if, or basically, how could this project fail? One of the partners could pull out, they get cold feet, your bank won't give you finance, and basically it's to go through everything that could go wrong in advance so that you can plan for it, you can mitigate it, and then again build your strategy around how you can execute, but almost nothing comes up. Because one of the classic things, and this happens all the time, arguably I think this is almost how Fukushima happened, which was the nuclear disaster in Japan. You will have people that have concerns about stuff that they kind of think, yeah, but communication's really bad and that won't get passed on or whatever. It's giving people permission, especially within a team, to be able to talk about things and actually, raise concerns for how they think this project could fail, so that you can mitigate them and get different eyes and ideas on a project before you actually kind of come to execute. It's a really simple tool to think about. Actually think about for yourself, what could go wrong with something that you've got coming up in the next kind of 6 months, a year? Is there anything you could do to kind of help that? And actually, even maybe with a friend, brainstorm with this in advance. And at least forewarned is forearmed. You can be prepared for whatever could happen next. But don't leave anything almost to chance and die in the process. Have a pre-mortem, look at your project, think actually, look, we've got this really good initiative coming up. We've got this great event that we're going to launch in December. What could go wrong? And then actually when people can list out all the different stuff, it's a great way to mitigate it and hopefully give you a very successful event. So what are we on to? 9:27. I'm trying to think what I'm doing this weekend. Going back to my hometown of Liverpool, so I'm going to see my parents this weekend, which is quite cool. I've got various kind of client stuff I'm going to try and finish off today. If I don't speak to you, have a wonderful kind of weekend. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to kind of get in touch. The Roadmap MBA. And Jennifer, if you don't have one, drop me a message and I'll send you a copy in the post. I'm near the end of my kind of first print run now, which is cool. Basically before version 2 launches later in the year. I haven't quite finished it yet, I'm just doing the final kind of tweaks. But it's that kind of thing of, for me, what I wanted to do was almost launch the business, get feedback, make things work, see what kind of happens. And actually just getting the consumer feedback has been priceless, because so much stuff's come up in helping me just improve the course, that everyone who's a paid member on the course is going to get a free copy, as they would and they always will do, kind of moving forward. But actually it just allows me to get better, and what I would almost say is that I would recommend that you do the same as well. That it doesn't matter what you do or how it works, you never be afraid to keep learning and improving and that kind of thing as well. So at the moment, one of my goals for the next kind of 3 to 6 months will be version 2. It's a new brand, it's an updated look and feel and lots of stuff to do with that. But I'll be honest, another 2 months after that and I'll be working on version 3, and how can I just improve the business, hit more people, help more people as well, and then make the content better and better and better as well. And that's something that I do. And then likewise with the course, because I'm always trying to be quite honest about my journey, hopefully it gives you confidence, which is essentially what it's all about, that whatever your project is or whatever you want to do next, you're just confident in your next steps and how to kind of make it successful. Jennifer, I would love to, and no, thank you for reaching out as well. So everyone have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully I will speak to you soon. If you've got any questions, drop them in the chat, and yeah, have a wonderful weekend. All right, okay, cheers, bye-bye.